This is
This is the local music revolution. The local music revolution. The local music revolution. Local music revolution. Local music revolution. Local music revolution. Hello and welcome to the Local Music Revolution. I am your host, Ogre. On today's episode, we have a band out of the Central Valley of California called Spirit Descending. So I'll give you a little backstory about this interview. I started to take the plunge to do the podcast in very, very early 2015. I got everything I needed and I was starting to try to find bands that I could interview and do this podcast. I went to a sci-fi con here in my hometown. I just happened to stumble upon a booth that had Spirit Descending on the banner and they were promoting, so I stopped and talked to them, and there were these two ladies really enthusiastic, and they were about their band. And I was like, this is great. This is exactly what I'm looking for. This came right as the time as I was trying to set everything up and talk myself into actually doing this podcast. Because like with many people, I was kind of afraid to take the first steps because I didn't know if I was going to fall on my face. Eventually I did, and it's become something I really, really cherish in my life. But Spirit Descending came through exactly when I needed them to, and I really, really did everything in my power to get them on the show. So I contacted them, and they asked me to do an interview a month later, which I had no idea what was going on. I thought they would want to do an interview as soon as possible. But April 24th rolls around, and I got to interview them. When I finally got to talk to them, I was able to talk to Krys and to Eric, the singer and the drummer, respectively. We talked about how they got together, how they plan on moving forward, and they explain why their CD is taking so very long to come out. I also got to talk about drums for a little bit, which was always a fun thing for me. Eric mixes and matches his cymbals, and me, I like Sabian cymbals so much so that my cat's name is Sabian and he's evil, but that's for a whole different thing. One of the highlights for the episode for me was actually being able to talk to Krys and Eric about an impromptu acoustic set that they did overlooking the San Francisco Bay. It was a very, very interesting story, and I really, really hope that I get to see something like that. It just sounds so incredible and just sounds like something that is so special to be part of. I really, really hope that they continue what they're doing because everything they've done so far that I've heard is really something that I enjoy, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they flourish in the future. Before we get to Spirit Descending, I want to take this time, as I always do, to thank everybody that's been listening, everybody that's been participating, and everybody that's involved in the local music revolution. I really cannot do any of this without you guys. You guys are amazing. The podcast has started to take off way more than I ever thought it would, and it's scary, it's exciting, it's nerve-wracking. All of these emotions are going on at the same time. I'm trying to keep my head, but sometimes it just gets really, really confusing. So please bear with me because there are so many things going to be happening soon. I'm going to be actually trying to start having more content. I've already got ideas lined up. I already have blog posts in mind. I'm just needing to find the time to sit down and write something coherent and something that people will enjoy and can relate to. That's really what I'm trying to do. I would like this podcast to be well-rounded. I'd like to actually have a blog in the future. I'm just trying to set it up with a decent base, kind of like I did with the podcast. So please give me time I will make sure everything's good. If you want to contact me or you like the podcast, please go to Facebook, facebook.com/thelocalmusicrevolution. Like the page, talk to the page. I'm behind the page. I will answer your questions and or your comments. I'm also the man behind the Twitter, so go to @TLMR podcast and follow the podcast. I try to be as social as possible. Sometimes I'm awkward like that. Give me a break here. I've never actually tried to have a social media presence. I've just been. So it's an interesting little task I've drummed up for myself. The podcast is on Tumblr. If you are one of those people that use Tumblr, please bear with me because I am having problems with the Tumblr blog updating. As soon as I get it resolved, I'll make sure everything is on the up and up. Thank you very much for your patience. The Local Music Revolution is also on Instagram. I keep forgetting to tell people that because I just forget. I really enjoy Instagram. I have my personal one. I have one for the Local Music Revolution. Please follow the Local Music Revolution on Instagram @the Local Music Revolution. The podcast is being run through a WordPress currently. You can follow WordPress. Just go to thelocalmusicrevolution.wordpress.com. You can follow it. You can check out all of the information that's on there, all the FAQs. If you are interested in being an artist on this show, all you have to do is fill out the interview sign-up sheet. Please, before you contact me and try to sell your band to me, please fill that out. It makes it so much easier for me to deal with your band because all of the information I need is right there. It's a streamlined process and it's for everybody involved. I also have a link to the shop, the Local Music Revolution shop. All you have to do, click on that and you can see all the merch that is available. I believe that there are pillows and there are bed sheets or bedspreads on there. I thought it was funny, so I kept it on there. There's also water bottles, there's t-shirts, stickers, bumper stickers, business cards, all of those things for the Local Music Revolution. Go check it out. Go get some merch, support the revolution, and remember, if you do get any of this merch, take a picture of yourself with the merch, and I will post you on all of our social media outlets. One last thing before we get into this is the podcast is now sponsored, officially sponsored. We have our first sponsor, and that sponsor is Stringjoy out of Nashville, Tennessee. As such, being that we are now sponsored, you also get perks for being listeners. So if you go to stringjoy.com, check out their strings, get one of the pre-made packs. If not, you can always get custom strings. Scott will work with you and try to get the best strings for your playing or the idea you have in your head. All you have to do, use local as the promo code, and you will get a discount being that you are a listener of the podcast. Thank you very much, Stringjoy. It's wonderful to have you aboard. And I'm here with Krys and Eric from Spirit Descending. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
I'm pretty good.
Well, that's very, very, very good to hear. It's been an interesting couple of days trying to get everybody together so that we can do this. So I'm really glad that you guys are able to do this. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having us.
All right, so to start this out, I would like to know how you guys became a band.
Well,
Go ahead, Eric.
It all started about a little bit more than 6 years. We just celebrated our 6th anniversary a couple weeks ago. Me and Elaine, the guitarist, we used to be, before Spirit Descending, me and her used to be in another band for a couple years. When we broke up, I told Elaine, hey, we have good chemistry. Let's find new band members and start a new project. And that's how I found Krys and Amanda and our old bass player Matt online on a musician's website. And I invited them to practice and see what they thought about our new project. And that's how Spirit Descending became alive 6 years ago.
Nice, nice. In the beginning days, did you guys have the aspiration to be this symphonic metal that you guys are describing at this current time?
Well, to be honest with you, I always wanted to be in a rock band with I wanted to have a female singer. I always wanted that. I didn't know exactly the style I wanted it to be, but I think it has been evolving in this past 6 years, because you can tell from the first album that we recorded 4 years ago to this new one, the music has just been evolving, and I think we're very, very happy right now with all the music that we're creating, and I think we're all happy with everything, the way things are coming together.
So currently, what does the band consist of? I'm sorry. Currently, what does the members consist of? What do you guys play?
Well, we have Krys on vocals, we have Elaine on guitar, Amanda on keyboard, and me, Eric, on drums.
And are all four of you like original members, or have there been other lineup changes other than the bass?
It's been go ahead, Krys. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, we're all pretty much the original members of the band, aside from the bassist that we separated from, or separated with, I guess. We are all the original members of the first Spirit Descending when it came about.
And you guys updated your Facebook and your website saying that you guys had a bass player last year. But in your anniversary show, there wasn't any bass player on stage. Can you go into that, or is that something that's a little touchy?
It's not terribly touchy. We did recruit a bass player. His name is Walter. He came to a couple of our practices. We got along really well, so there's no like bad blood or anything. But for personal reasons, essentially he couldn't go on to play with us. So we've just pretty much been going without a bass player since.
Being that you guys are heavily influenced with the synth and everything like that, do you guys is there a bottom end added in the synthesizer, or is it just you guys are cruising without a bass right now?
Good.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Being that you guys use the synthesizer and the keyboards and everything, usually you can add low end with the keyboards. Are you guys utilizing that right now for your live shows, or are you just playing the shows without the bass line in there?
A lot of the bass, the bassy parts are pretty much emphasized by the keyboards. Absolutely correct.
That's awesome. That's very cool. I love the synthesizer sound. It's very fun.
Yeah, and then our keyboardist Amanda, she's pretty much, when it comes to music, she's a jack of all trades too. So when we recorded our EP, she actually took on the bass parts and played an actual bass on the recording.
Did you guys have a bass player while you guys were recording your album that has yet been released? Or was that also synthesizer, or did she pick up the bass too?
For the first album, we did have a bass, or an actual bass player, and then for the EP for the new songs that we're releasing, she played them in studio, but live we don't have anybody playing the bass line.
And speaking of that, I have the title Creatures of Habit. Is that the EP you were talking about, or is that your first album?
No, that is the EP.
Oh, that's
Creatures
the
of
EP?
Habit.
Okay.
Yeah, the first album, it's a self-titled album, Spirit Descending.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I didn't have the name, and I felt really bad because I could not find that while I was doing the research. So where did you guys record the music? Have you guys done more than one studio? Is it like a home setup, or is it a place that you have friends at and you've become partners, basically?
For our first album, both of them have been professional studios.
Nice.
The first one, though, it was through a friend of mine. He actually records a lot of Mexican music, and I said, why not? He gave us a good price, so we went with him and try to record him, which we're happy with the album. But for the second one, though, we wanted to go with another friend of ours. What's the name of the studio, Krys?
It was the Scenic Science Studios out in Dinuba with Frankie Velasco.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's in the valley. I really like that. It's good to know that you guys are staying local and everything. So the demo that you gave out, you guys went to the Sci-Fi Con here in Tulare, and you gave out a 2-song demo. Are those songs off the first album, or are they like promotional for the new EP that you guys are putting out?
Those are. Go ahead. Those are 2 promotional songs from the EP that the Creatures of Habit that we're hoping to release here with the rest of the songs pretty soon.
And how many songs are on this release?
On that one, there's going to be 6.
6 songs? That's awesome. That's really good. I listened to it a few times while I was doing the research. I really enjoyed it. It was very, very interesting take on music. I haven't heard that in the Valley in a while, I at least. So it's very nice to hear that stuff coming out of the Valley. So like I mentioned, you guys went to the Sci-Fi Con here in Tulare. Usually it's cosplay and nerdy movies and stuff like that. What led you guys to what led to you guys having a booth there, and how did that work out for you guys?
Well, actually, long story short, it was actually supposed to be just for myself, just because I am an author and I do a lot of like collaborations and music on the side. So the table was actually originally just supposed to be for myself, but then, just kind of thinking about it, I was like, no, this would be a great way to promote the band. There's actually a song that we wrote on the EP that's inspired by, well, most of it's inspired by like mythological creatures and stuff like that, but namely one song was actually based on a video game. And so I was like, you know what, I think it would fit in that kind of a fantasy setting, fantasy theme to it. And I've heard a lot about promoting at conventions and stuff like that, and I feel like it was actually a pretty good success to get some exposure for the band. So I turned the solo table into a method of promoting the band.
That's really cool. Did you guys see a spike in like likes on Facebook or traffic on your website, or like people listening to your music?
Yeah, actually, we got together with one of the other vendors or exhibitors there at Sci-Fi Con. He's actually running a business with his mom there, and he came out of the booth and he was just so enamored with the music, and he actually became the head of our street team. He's actually been helping with our exposure as well, just getting the word out there, just sharing videos on Facebook, and it's generated a lot of likes and interest just from the Valley alone.
Congratulations. I love the DIY approach to music. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think that's the future of music, and we should all embrace it. So that's amazing that you guys are doing that. So right now, can you tell me about the song Petrified?
That song is actually really dear to our guitarist, Elaine. She originally came up with the riff when we were in the writing phase for the EP. She started just chugging along, and we kind of shaped it a little bit different than what she had originally planned for it, but after it was all put together, she absolutely loved the way it was, and we've pretty much left it that way. But the story behind it, we kind of wanted to write a song about Medusa, the Gorgon Medusa, who turns people to stone, hence petrify. And I think and it's actually been one of the tougher songs for me to remember, even though I write the lyrics kind of weird, but it's actually been a really cool song that like Eric mentioned before, music has evolved. Our music has evolved through the writing process, and over time, that song was really like stuck with me. It's really, really neat.
So, what is it that interested you about the Gorgons and Medusa? Was it just the mythological stories, or was it something more?
As far as just the Petrify story, yeah, I've always been into things like, Greek lore. Actually, on our first album, I wrote a song about Persephone and her struggles and all that. But in general, me and Elaine actually came up with the idea of writing the song about Medusa just because of how much of a tortured soul she really is. Being cursed with that, turning people to stone if you look at them. But then at the same time, just how powerful she really is. So that was kind of how we came up with that concept.
That is amazing. I am a Greek mythology nerd. One of my last releases,
Awesome.
two of my last releases were actually based on Greek mythology because I thought it would be a fun project. So,
Nice.
yeah, I wrote an EP and an album about it. So I love that stuff. So right now we'll play Petrified. And that was Petrified. That was the first song I heard from you guys, and I really enjoy it. Now that I know it's legitimately about Gorgons, I've got to re-listen to that and just be awesome about it again. I'm sorry, I'm riffing now. So you guys have been together for just over 6 years, as you stated previously. You had a 6-year anniversary show on April 4th, 2015, and you guys were promoting that when I met you guys. What was the idea behind the 6th anniversary show, other than the celebration? And how was it? Was it amazing for you guys?
Well, we've been wanting to do a anniversary show, but we have never done one. This is actually our first anniversary show we ever done. And actually our anniversary is in December, and we were supposed to have this show in December of 2014.
Oh, okay.
But for some things happen, so we have to reschedule it. And the next day was April 4th, the next available day. And I'm a bartender, and actually where we have that show, it's at my bar where I work.
Oh, that's
awesome.
And
the reason I wanted to do it there was because all my customers know I'm in a band, but no one has ever seen me play live. So I'm like, you know what? Why not? This will be a great opportunity to gain new fans. And we had a great success. It was probably it was really crowded in there. There was actually, I didn't know this, but security guards afterwards told me there was actually there was a line of like 30 or 40 people outside waiting to come inside.
Oh,
I didn't know this, which is, it made me very proud for me and for my band, that we actually had a big line outside for people trying to come inside. And it was a great success, and I think we made a lot of new fans. So that was the main purpose I wanted to do it there, to gain all my customers as new fans.
That's awesome, man.
So,
congratulations. Yeah. So after everything was said and done, after the smoke cleared, do you guys have plans to elaborate on that and maybe go on a tour, or are you guys waiting until the album is released?
I think the plan right now is we would like to release the full EP, Creatures of Habit, sometime this summer. We don't have a specific date or a venue yet, but we would like to release it. But as far as shows, we have a couple shows coming up in May in Los Angeles, and there's other shows that we have planned for August / September, to go to Las Vegas and Los Angeles again.
Oh, nice.
But
nice.
We're still looking into the specific date to release the album.
So the album is done, and it's ready to go. You guys are just waiting.
Pretty much. Yes, pretty much. We actually finished recording it in 2013.
Wow.
So it's ready. We just haven't had we haven't found the right opportunity to release it, and but we would like to, for that opportunity to happen this year, hopefully by the summer, and finally release the EP Creatures of Habit.
Wow. So
yeah, a lot of that has to do with the fact that we weren't sure, because it was only 6 songs that we finished. And actually got recorded with Unique Sciences, and we basically were like, do we want to add more? Do we want to, continue from here? Do we just want to keep it as an EP? So we've held on to, this new music for so long because of that. But ultimately, we decided recently that we just want to release the EP, and then anything that we add on will be, newer material, a newer album, essentially.
So you guys mentioned when I met you that there was a story behind the EP. Is that something that you guys can elaborate on?
Well, with the Creatures of Habit, the EP itself, there's a story behind each song. What's going to happen, or what we've kind of come up with collectively, is that we want to actually go into another album using some of these songs and weaving together a concept.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
we don't have full details on it right now. We kind of have like the skeleton of it. It's going to be a conflict between angels and demons. It's going to pretty much the second song on that sample CD that we gave you, Revenge, She Said,
Yeah.
is actually the basis of the story. So, it's the fallen angel concept, where the girl falls in love with who she finds out is essentially the prince of hell, and he's out to kill her and take her essence to ascend to his father's throne, and take over the underworld.
Wow.
That's pretty much the basis of it. There's a lot of stuff intertwined in the middle of it, and we're going to use some of these songs to actually put together that concept. And actually, one of my friends, Ellie Potts, she's an author, and she and I kind of been talking about the story as well. And we thought it would be really awesome to put it into novel form. So we're actually trying to make a novel. We're working with Amanda to make it a graphic novel, because she's an artist as well. And ultimately the goal, at least for me, because I've always wanted to do this since high school, is actually to put together a rock opera
That's
out of
awesome.
this concept album. Because of my choir roots and everything, but inspired by things like, Repo, the Genetic Opera, and stuff like that. Is really just that dark, gritty rock opera type thing. I'm like, we need more of that stuff. So I think it would be really neat to kind of use our concepts into as many outlets as we can, novel form, graphic novel, rock opera, whatever we can do to kind of get our music and our ideas out there.
Yeah, I just actually interviewed a film company that turned one of their short films into a comic book. It doesn't go along with the story. It kind of veers off and gives side stories and everything. But it's a very, very interesting way to continue promotion of a project you spent a lot of your time on. And
Right.
it gives you avenues. You can continue, you can, stop, you can continue one avenue. I mean, it's a great thing that idea is just awesome. It's so awesome. So when you guys sit down to write these songs, how do they form? Is it just riffs? Is it beats? Do you guys jam? Krys, have you just come in with a set of lyrics and go, "This is the mood. I want this kind of song," or how do you guys work?
Yeah, actually, now that you bring it up, it's kind of a mixture of everything. Like one day we'll have, Eric will come up with a beat, or Elaine will come in, like for example with Petrify, she came in with the riff, and we kind of just build off of that. A lot of it is just jamming and playing it over and over until something comes to mind. But yeah, specific to your question, Creatures of Habit, the song itself, was one that I actually wrote. Oh gosh, it was like a couple of years ago, and I had the set of lyrics. Exactly like you said, I brought it to practice, and I was like, okay, I want to write this. I want to write this acoustic song, because we got into such like a heavier sound that I was like, okay, let's dial it back down. Let's make something that we could essentially turn into acoustic later on. And Creatures of Habit ended up forming with that one. And part of Revenge, She Said, I had actually come in with some of the lyrics initially to kind of contribute to that.
Well, when you say acoustic, do you mean like full on just guitar vocal track, or does Eric have like a percussive side to it also?
When we kind of strip all of the distortion and all of the amps and stuff, yeah, it's a lot of acoustic, starting with the vocals and guitar. Amanda actually has a mandolin that she brings with us whenever we travel, and she'll break that out. And then Eric also has like a hand drum that he'll play alongside that.
So even though it's acoustic, it's still a full band production.
Exactly, yes.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Not a lot of bands can pull that off. It's really nice to hear that. So you're talking about acoustic, and I read on, I believe it was your Facebook for the band, you guys had gone to San Francisco, and there was like an impromptu acoustic set on the bay. Can you go into that? I thought that was extremely interesting, and I would love to hear the story behind that.
Well, Amanda's birth mom. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Eric.
Oh, no.
Amanda's mom actually lives up in the Northern California area. And after we played it was Bitch Fest. It was a breast cancer benefit show out in Oakland. They were like, you know what? I know this perfect spot out by the bay. Let's head out there. So we went out. We sat there. We broke out the instruments, and we're like, this would be a really cool place to actually just sit and play. Because it was one of the first times that we've ever had the real opportunity to do that. And it was a gorgeous view. Actually, fireworks went off later on in the set. And we had groups of people, a couple of people here and there, and they were coming along just to kind of listen to the music. And, and it was really neat to kind of have people stop just to listen to us play. It was a really cool experience.
Have you guys done that since? Are there plans maybe to do it again sometime?
Well, I was actually thinking, now that you were talking to Krys about this, what we did in after the show in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually thinking that we should probably do something like that in LA for our May shows. We don't have any plans. We haven't planned to do something else like that. But I think it'll be awesome to just to see, I don't know, sit by the beach and just start playing some acoustic songs. That'll be good. And since we're going in to LA in next month, that'll probably be awesome too, to maybe do another acoustic set, just while we're enjoying the beach. That'll be cool to do.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. I mean, I'd love to see that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm riffing again. So you guys travel a lot outside of the valley. Is that more out of necessity or just the fact that you like playing those places?
What's
That's
your
a tricky question.
It is.
It's nothing against the valley. I mean, this is our roots. This is where we started. We've had numerous shows in like the Fresno area. I don't know if I mentioned this to you at Sci-Fi Con, but we're really trying to get a show out here in Visalia. But to be honest, a lot of the sound is really hard to match with shows. Again, really tricky question because I love the bands that we played with. But because we're so different, at least from what I've noticed, it's really like tough to like follow, say, a death metal act, and then you have to like my vocals come in and I'm singing, and people are just kind of like, do I like this? Kind of confused.
Yeah.
I mean, and we've run into that same thing outside of the valley too, so it's not just here. But a lot of it is to kind of gain exposure up and down the state. We have played in like Las Vegas before. Ultimately, of course, the goal is to tour the nation, but we want to try to get up at least into Oregon and like Seattle area, because we know that the music scene is pretty big in there in the States too.
You guys say that the Valley's your home base, and of course it's my home base too. Something I saw that I kind of chuckled at is it says your band is from 3 different cities at varying distances apart. Can you explain that?
It was actually like, when we had our base, which it was actually, we were all from different areas. Yeah, because Eric is, and this is where we rehearse usually, is at his place in Parlier. Elaine used to live in Selma, like, then there was like Sanger, Fresno, and then I'm actually here in the South Valley in Tulare. So a lot of that I think has to do with the fact that, Eric found us online, and I don't know, it worked out, and we still make the practice and we make it work.
That sounds like it would be a lot of frustration on everybody's part. I've had a band straight from Tulare, everybody, including myself, from Tulare, and it was like pulling teeth sometimes to get everybody to practice. Like, it's great that you guys can be able to pull that off from so many different places and be able to convene and practice. how do your practices go? Do you guys constantly practice that new EP, so when it's released, you guys don't have to try to relearn the songs, or do you guys have a specific set that you practice all the time?
Mm, well, usually our practice day is Sundays, and sometimes it's we we like each other like a family, to be honest with you. And we usually, when we get together, we practice. We take a break. We go get pizza. We get a couple beers. It's like our day to hang out
Yeah.
outside, our jobs and everything else. So, we practice for a couple hours, and then we take dinner, then we'll practice again. And that's usually how we do it. And I think that's one of the main reasons we still together as original members, because we're very close in that aspect that we just don't meet to practice in the shows, but we actually hang out and have a good time with each other. And but it's sometimes it is difficult to get together for a practice, because we all live in different areas, and with our jobs being, I work night times, some of the other girls work daytime, so sometimes it's hard to find the right day to practice. But when we do, we usually do a long practice to make it up for the other weeks we haven't practiced.
Is it
So that's
like,
kind of how it.
do you guys celebrate like when you are able to practice after a long time? Is it one of those things where it's like, I needed this so much and I'm
Yes,
so happy I'm here?
Yeah.
absolutely. It's a real de-stressor. I find, that outlet, and getting the opportunity to do that, at least once a week, twice a week, with, like what Eric said, with our family. It really just takes a load off of all the stress from the rest of the week.
I really do think that the bands should be like family. It's something that there are a few bands that I've witnessed are missing that. And that's why you see so many members going in and out of those bands, and only one like singular original member in that band. I personally, when I was in bands, those guys were my brothers, and I loved them like I love my brother. And I think it's something that a band must be able to do, because eventually you guys want to tour, like you said, and I don't know if you guys can live with somebody that you don't appreciate like a family member.
Right.
Um, uh, I'm sorry. I'll have to cut this out. I brain fart. Sorry.
Sorry.
All right. So your practices and everything. You said. Are you guys writing new music? Being that the EP is 2 years old, do you guys have new songs that you practice, or do you put a cap on it until that release is out?
No, we actually have a couple new songs already being complete, and we're actually probably gonna get ready to start doing those at shows. We actually started playing. One of the new songs is called "Godless." We recently started playing that song in the most recent shows. We also have another one that's brand new, which I would like to play in our next show. But besides those two, we have a bunch of ideas too. We have ideas for new music. We're always, whenever we finish our practice set, we always jump into new ideas, try to get new songs and try to work on them.
Do you guys use technology to help you write? Like, do you guys record riffs and stuff like that and send them back and forth in emails and stuff like that, so that you guys can write while you're away from the band?
Yes.
Well, when we first started, we used to record them in a tape.
On cassette tapes.
Yeah, cassette tapes. We still have those tapes, actually.
I know.
I used to do that too.
Yeah.
That's
People
how we
just
started. Now we just record either on a cell phone or an iPad or whatever, and then we just email them, like ideas or whatever idea came that specific practice, and then we just send them to each other, and see if we can come up with something else, to add to that idea.
Are there any examples of songs that you guys have that actually were written using that process?
Using the a back and forth process.
Yes. Sorry.
A lot of the I don't know. I would say most of them are, even dating back to the whole cassette tape thing. We'll kind of revisit it. All right, you take this home, work on it, and then sometimes we'll come back with something new or something that's polished from the idea, the original idea. But a lot of the new stuff now, especially because of the distance and life happens and we can't make it to practice. The technology now has made it really a lot easier to just pass the music back and forth and play along with it or sing along with it and write while we're kind of on a hiatus or just away from the band.
So, Krys, do you use that to write your lyrics, or do you write those spur of the moment, in a jam session?
It's been a mixture, kind of. A lot of it, I think, a lot of my writing of the lyrics happens in the practice. At first, and Eric can probably attest to this, but at first I was really shy. Of course, it's a new project. It's a totally new venue for me because I'd never been in a band before. I would take my time with my lyrics because I want to make sure that they make sense and kind of proofread them and everything. But now, especially now with our jam sessions and being really comfortable with one another and listening really closely to where the music is going, a lot of the lyrics happen just right there. Of course, some fine-tuning and stuff and editing and trimming a lot of it down will happen behind the scenes, but generally it's right there, just sitting with everybody.
That's actually awesome. I can't tell you how much I love being able to jam and riff off of another musician. And I'm a drummer, so I can do that in my sleep, but being able to come up with words that make sense is just outrageous to my brain. I can't understand it. It's a trait that I really wish I had. So can you tell me a little bit more about the song Revenge, She Said?
That one, how long did we work on that, Eric? Do you know?
A while. Or as we call it, what do we say? Two summers? I mean,
two summers.
Winters?
2 winters, yeah. It was one of those, it was originally about 5 minutes long, and it was the middle part of the song. A lot of it was just that heavy chorus part that I absolutely fell in love with. It was almost jarring, it was alarming, but then I knew that I could put something melodic to it that would just fit. The beginning part of it, though, it was actually, that was the set of lyrics that I originally came in. It was a separate song altogether, but I ended up weaving those two together, and that's how it became essentially, our 10-minute epic song. But that is the one that I mentioned earlier is the basis of our newer stuff and the concept that we're building off of with the whole clash of the angels and demons and everything. But going through it, it tells this, it's almost like an argument, at least, I don't know if I've even told Eric this yet, but it's the story of the angel and the demon, and they're going through their entire relationship, and it's all a mess. There's a lot of betrayal. There's, questioning, why am I even here? How did we end up this way? And a lot from both of their point of views, and how just awful their relationship is, but they just can't seem to let go of each other. And it's that whole tortured relationship kind of thing. And it's one of the songs, one of my favorite songs that we've actually written ever. And
for sure, that was for sure.
Yeah, there's so much in it. There are all these different elements, and there's power. There's just aggression. There's drama. It has a lot of stuff in it, and so I think that's why I hold it so dear to myself.
This is Revenge, She Said.
revolution in the deep. Stare at me and say nothing. How can I move forward into a bittersweet release? Letting go of who I used to be. In the mirror that I see, a monster within me.
And that was Revenge, She Said, basis for Creatures of Habit, which is coming out later on this year. So Krys, during the break we were talking, I have to ask you, you are a lady in metal. The majority of your band is actually women. How do you feel about how women are treated in music in general at current time?
That's actually a really interesting way of wording it, but I've read several articles, at least lately, featuring Alyssa from, Arch Enemy, Floor from, well, now it's Nightwish, talking about this subject, and, I mean, I feel like it's such a taboo, almost, or it almost, like, makes people unsettled, a lot of, especially the older, generation, they're not entirely sure how to feel about, women coming into this genre. But music evolves, it's something that we kind of, mentioned before. And this is actually a whole new universe for myself. I hadn't really dreamed of. I always wanted to be part of a musical act and a band, but I didn't know that I was, headed for a metal band when I signed up for this, and it's been quite an adventure, and I've actually had the opportunity to talk with a bunch of women in metal, like Mary Zimmer from White Empress, V.K. Lynn from Light Rose the Angels, to name drop a couple of awesome women in metal. And it's something that we all have to kind of face, and they really inspire me. I actually learned how to get into screaming. Initially, I didn't do any of that stuff, and it was nothing against it. It was just my roots are classics and musical theater, and then getting into things like guttural screams and stuff it's again a really new kind of avenue that I've had to explore, and it's been really, really cool. Earlier, you mentioned stuff about people coming out to the anniversary show. And actually, Eric, he mentioned to, all of us at one of the practices before the anniversary show that a couple of customers were like, girls play metal? and of course we laugh about it, and, we take it in stride, but it's one of those, I guess, kind of empowering things. And I think I can speak for the other girls in the band when I say this, but it's really cool to get up there, and sure, we get all those strange, what are they doing? Are they just helping the band set up? And then when we actually start playing, just to see the looks on their face, whoa, that actually came from them. And it's actually, over the years, I've kind of come to terms with it, that it, it's going to happen no matter where you go. Some people may or may not agree with it, but as an artist, you just keep on doing what you love and what you do best. So it's one of the things that it's not going to stop me from playing metal.
Oh, well, my wife and I were just talking about this, and one of her coworkers had basically said women should not be in metal because if if a few women are in metal, that means there's going to be more women in metal. I think that's appalling because metal is one of those genres where you can be any shape, color, size, sex, whatever you want to call it, and you can still be part of the family. And
Absolutely.
it seems to me it's just ridiculous how men in metal treat women that are actually artistically brilliant. Right now, one of my favorite bands to listen to is In This Moment, and they put out Blood. They put out Black Widow this year. And
yes, I love those albums.
yeah, and to me, it sounds like if they would have come out in like early 2000s, they would have dominated Manson and Rob Zombie in that genre. But that's my opinion. Maria Brink. Now, I don't think personally, it's not one of my favorite bands, but I think the theatrics that they put on for their show makes them an astounding act to see. Another band that I'm really, really into is called Butcher Babies, and they took that title from Wendy O, who was the first woman in metal. Lita Ford, I grew up with Lita Ford and Pat Benatar and just women in metal is not a taboo. It shouldn't be a taboo, at least. It should be embraced because there are women that are more manly than men are. And it should be embraced and it should be loved because those women are badass. I mean, I've seen women take down guys bigger than me, and I'm a big guy, in a pit. And it's like I said, it should be embraced and it should be loved. It should not be frowned upon or you're scratching your head. Why are these women doing it? You should be like, yeah, that woman can entertain the hell out of me because she's awesome. So. That's just my feeling.
Well, it's good to know that it's appreciated, just in general. Just not necessarily in metal anyway. I mean, anyone can do whatever they want. Just set your mind to it, as cheesy as that sounds. But
yeah, it's cheesy, but it's true.
Yeah.
And nobody seems to grasp that until they've gone, oh, I can do this. I actually have a whole opinion on following your dreams instead of sitting there and complaining about never getting anywhere in life. But we'll put a cap on that. I'm sorry. I'm riffing again, and I need to stop that. All right, so you guys are releasing Creatures of Habit. Sometime soon, hopefully within the summer. Can you talk about the title track real fast?
Sure. Yeah. Creatures of Habit. It has a really powerful meaning, at least to me, and I explained this to the band as well. The concept, just, I don't know. I gotta word this. The first one is just, it was kind of personal to me, and kind of coming off of this women in metal topic, it really kind of hits it right there on the head. But it's a lot of coming to terms with who you are and overcoming a lot of, how do you say, a lot of opposition, the naysayers. It's really just, the word that you've used is embrace, like embracing who you are, and just kind of doing what you do because you love it. But the second verse actually hit me in a time where someone in well, not to name names or anything, but the theater community, it was a lot when the bullying and stuff came to light in the news for someone just because of their sexual orientation. basically, that person gets bullied so much to where they end up taking their own life. And then at that point, everyone becomes that, they kind of turn face a little bit, and they are like, oh no, I feel really bad. But I'm like, wait a minute, like a second ago, you were just, against that sort of lifestyle. And it's a lot about how people are going to do what they do no matter what you say or do. Like, people are creatures of habit. They're going to fall in with the crowd and go with what's comfortable with them. Sometimes not necessarily because of what they believe in. So at the end of the song, as it, resolves, it's basically coming to peace with who you are, like from the subject in the first verse, and really just opening your eyes to, what's changing in the world, concepts, beliefs, sexual orientation, and then just more of a why can't we all just get along kind of general message. But yeah, I think that's the concept that I came up with, if it even made any sense.
It actually it makes very very good sense, and I kind of want to thank you for writing on that subject. Not a lot of people will have the guts to write about something that is so profound and such a problem in the society we are in right now. So that's really awesome. But now I will play Creatures of Habit.
Close your eyes. Can you see her standing there, holding out a hand, void of blood and flesh? A skeleton remaining from the body that you knew, a soulless entity, forsaken, lost beyond decay. Such is life, history repeating, inevitable extinction, endless veils of crimson. Such is tragedy, history repeating, creatures of habit,
All right, that was Creatures of Habit, and that is awesome subject matter, and we need more people to have guts enough to talk about that kind of stuff. Until then, Eric, you, sir, are a drummer. I am a drummer. That is awesome. It makes my heart warm to be able to talk to another drummer after so much time. Like, what is your setup like? Do you have, like, full-fledged metal double bass, 2 Chinas, 2 crashes, you know, craziness like that? Or do you have more of a laid-back drum set?
Well, I recently added a second hi-hat, and believe me, it makes things so much easier than having just one.
Oh, yes.
I saw, I can't remember the name of the drummer. I was watching just drummer videos from drummers, I guess, on YouTube. And this guy, I never seen somebody that had two hi-hats. And then I saw this guy, he had 2. I'm like, oh my God, I got to do that. And it's been so much easier. It makes things so much easier having 2 hi-hats.
Yeah.
So yes, I do have 2. I don't have 2 bass drums, but I do have a pedal. Double bass pedal.
What are you using? Is it a DW?
My drum set?
No, the pedal. What kind of pedal is it?
It's a combination of one that I can't even remember the brand. I know one. It's a combination. Like one is the Elaine let me borrow one, and I attach it to another one I have bought. I can't remember the name of the brands, to be honest.
Nice.
So it's actually two brands. Each pedal is a different brand.
That's awesome.
I just
man.
combine them with one that Elaine, the guitarist, let me borrow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So back to the double hi-hats. Actually, a bunch of the drummers that I've grown to know and love actually use 2 hi-hats. Mm-hmm. And up until I stopped playing acoustic drums, that was one of my goals, was to be able to have a second hi-hat.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a natural feeling. Like when you're playing the ride, it's easy to play your ride because, you know, you're opened up and you're easy and
yeah,
you know, it makes more sense with the second hi-hat, you know, that right there, especially if you're playing fast double bass, it makes it so much easier to work.
Oh yeah.
So much easier.
Yeah.
But that's also another reason why I learned how to play open-handed, using the main hi-hat with my left hand instead of my right. Because that's more natural. At least it feels more natural once you get used to it, and it's
Yes.
a really, really good feeling.
Yes, yeah, it's been. I don't know. I hardly use my hi-hat on my left side now. Everything I do it on the right side pretty much.
What cymbals do you use? Do you mix them up, or do you have one brand that you use?
You know what? In all my cymbals and all my hi-hats and everything, I have Sabian, I have Pace, I have Silgen, I have everything.
Oh, nice.
I don't stick to one specific brand, and not just on drums, just on anything. I don't like to own something just that's one brand.
Wow.
I like to mix, because I might like, you know, the brightness of one specific cymbal, that's the Silgen, and then I like, you know, Sabian. So I like to mix everything, like everything on my drums. Well, except for the original toms.
Yeah.
You know, it's on my Tama Rockstar.
Oh, nice,
But
nice.
all the cymbals that I use, they're all different names.
See, for me personally, it's always been Sabian. I always buy Sabian. I love Sabian so much. My cat is named Sabian because
Cool.
yeah, I'm that kind of guy. So that's awesome, man. That's really good. For me, Sabian's always had the sound that I wanted in the cymbals. They're really heavy and they're when you hit a crash Sabian, it just sends out a wall of sound, which makes everything better. And the Chinas are amazing. So do you I'm sorry, my brain's farted again. For your drumsticks, do you go like high-end brands, or do you get the stuff that you can break really easily?
That you can. Sorry, I couldn't hear that question.
When you use drumsticks, are they the high-end brand like Vic Firth and and those brands, or are they kind of like the Guitar Center name brand?
Yeah, I buy my drumsticks at Guitar Center.
Yeah, the cheap
not
breaker
not the
sticks.
super expensive stuff, just the regular. I just like the heavy drumsticks. I like to feel the weight on my hand when I'm playing.
Yeah.
Because if I use some of the lighter ones, I just feel like I'm just playing with feathers, and after a while, in the middle of the set, I don't feel comfortable. So my drumsticks are very heavy.
Do you know
I
what
don't know,
size
for some
they
reason
are?
I like that. What was that?
Do you know what size they are?
I know they're metal, and I can't remember the size right now.
Okay. Because my favorite are actually their 5As. They're right in between a 2B and a 7A. And like the 2Bs are the thick, like hammer ones that you can get. And the 7As are the jazz sticks, the really light, kind of thin ones. And it's right in the middle. They've always treated me very, very well. I love that size, so that's what I go for.
Yeah, I know when I first started playing drums, I used to have these really short sticks, and they were very, very light. I can't even remember the size. But eventually, my background is Mexican music. I started playing Mexican music, so for that type of music, those sticks were okay. But when I made the transition to rock music, which it was always my dream to play rock music, I started getting heavier and heavier sticks. And the ones I use right now, they're pretty heavy. To be honest with you, I don't remember the size right now. But they're very long and heavy.
That's awesome, man. That's you're swinging hammers, man. Do you break cymbals often?
I used to break cymbals often. I used to, but I haven't break one in a while.
Yeah, that's the life right there,
man.
Well,
let me correct that. I actually broke one of Elaine's, the guitarist's, hi-hat.
Oh.
Last year.
Oh,
so I recently went and bought a new one. I broke her hi-hat because she was, when I first met her, when we used to be in the old band before Spirit Descending was formed. I met her and she was a drummer. I met her playing in another band, and she was another drummer. So sometimes whenever I need something for my drum set, I ask her, and she lets me borrow stuff because she has all her drum stuff too. So, and when we started playing together, she got the guitar, and everything I need from drum sets. If I don't have to buy it, I just ask her to let me borrow something until I break it.
Oh man, that's the life right there. That has to be awesome. That really does.
Yeah.
I've broken so many cymbals, so many sticks. I actually had a hi-hat that kind of unpeeled like an onion, and it was brutal. So I know how bad that can get. I was playing. It's not death metal or anything like that. It was just regular, like really fast metal. I guess it would be thrash. And that hi-hat, it never stood a chance. So, all right, guys. So I'd like to wrap up now. Right now, because I've kept you a little bit over the time I asked for, so I don't want to keep you too much longer. So for your future and the band's future, what are you guys looking at? Are there shows in the near future? And when you guys do release the CD, like what are your plans after that? Are you guys gonna write and record a new one, or are you guys going to wait and promote that one for a while?
Well, I think like I mentioned before, we would like to release Creatures of Habit by summer of this year. But I think as soon as we released it, I think we're going to start working on new songs, new material to probably record a new album as soon as we get all the songs complete. But there's actually a few shows that we have already lined up for this year. like I mentioned before, in May we're doing 2 shows in Los Angeles. Um, we go to Vegas in August, at the end of August, and then at the beginning of September we go for 2 more shows in Los Angeles. That's what we have so far right now. And like I said, we're still working on a venue for the release of our album. We would like to do it here in the Central Valley since we're from here. But I don't know, I can't tell you, a venue or a date because we don't have it yet. But as soon as we know, we will definitely let you know. And so we can invite everybody to the show or the release.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I would really like to see you guys live. I'm very interested to see what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So where can people find you on the internet or on the internet? What's your social presence like?
Well, we have our website, spiritdescending.com. You can also find us on pretty much everywhere now. Facebook, YouTube. What else, Krys? Everywhere, right?
Yeah, a lot of it's linked to. We have Twitter, Instagram. But yeah, YouTube is something to kind of add on the question from before. Any plans to go on beyond what we have like planned for shows is YouTube. Aside from, or on top of, I guess, of recording acoustic sets and all that stuff, I would like to try to get to build on that channel a little bit more. So yeah, definitely on YouTube. And Reverb Nation. But I think that's pretty much it.
All right.
We would like to get signed. If anyone out there, any record label wants to sign,
yeah, absolutely.
We're available.
Yeah. That. So before you guys go, do you guys have merch that you guys are working on or have worked on available?
Do we have merch?
Yeah. Do you guys have merch
Okay.
available, or are you guys working on merch?
A lot of our first logo, our original logo, I think we have a few shirts left, right, Eric?
Yes, we do.
And of course, our first album is also available for sale. And then we're actually trying to get into printing some new shirts with our newer logo. And of course, our EP, and then some additional stuff like, pins, patches, stuff like that in the future.
Well, keep me posted on that. I really would like to sport some merch for you guys.
Oh, of course.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for your time and your effort. I've had fun. I really hope you guys have. And please let me know anytime you guys have any news. I would love to know what you guys are doing in the future.
For sure. And thank you for having us. It was
Thank you
fun.
so much.
Well, like I said, thank you guys. You guys are awesome, and people should know more about you guys. So I do my part.
Cool.
All right,
Thank you very
guys.
much.
Thank you again, and have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right. Good night.
So, how about that? Did you like it? I sure did. I want to know what you think, so leave comments. Social media, leave comments on the blog, leave comments on iTunes. While you're there, rate, comment, subscribe, and all of those good things on iTunes, because that ultimately helps the podcast. Both Krys and Eric were really great to work with. I really, really hope that this band gets to play in this area soon. I think it's a travesty if a band cannot play in their hometown and make it in their hometown. You have to get over in your hometown to be able to get the confidence to go on and do great things. And I really, really hope that maybe sometime I can be part of them finally being able to play a hometown gig. Again, if you want any information on the band, keep up with them, go to spiritdescending.com, and that has all of the information you need. As I mentioned before, I am very, very interested in what you think of the episodes. So, on past episodes, on present episodes, let me know what you think. Leave a comment, leave a like, something. Let me know you're out there, people. You can always contact me at facebook.com/thelocalmusicrevolution and on Twitter at TLMR podcast. Also on Instagram at The Local Music Revolution, because those are the three major sites that I am on with this podcast. Tumblr is acting weird again. Please just let me figure it out if you're following. If not, well then, hey, you don't have to worry. You'll get all the information as everybody else on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on WordPress, so no worries. Also, you can follow the blog on WordPress. Just go to thelocalmusicrevolution.wordpress.com. Follow that blog. It has all of the information. It's updated as soon as I get information. And most of the time, every Thursday, there's a complete change of lineup and everything like that. So you can check all of that out and go from there. We are also on iTunes and Stitcher and many podcast catchers. For iTunes, you just go to the iTunes store, look up The Local Music Revolution. We will pop up. You subscribe, rate, and comment. Let me know what you think. That helps the iTunes rankings, and it also helps the podcast get to more people. So I would greatly appreciate you doing that. For all of you Android users, such as myself, the podcast is on Stitcher. All you have to do is download the app to your phone, sign up using a regular email, your Facebook, your Google+. Main goal is just to sign up. Once you do that, you search for The Local Music Revolution, and you subscribe. You let me know what you think, and listen to all the episodes. iTunes and Stitcher have all of the episodes that have been released since the beginning, and that is a wonderful thing to have all of these episodes in one convenient place. So go, subscribe, rate, comment, and add The Local Music Revolution. If by chance you want to help out The Local Music Revolution, all you have to do is go to the shop up at the top right-hand corner of the WordPress, and you can go get merch. That will help. Anything that comes through from that will go straight back into the podcast to make better arrangements. It will help fund the website. Geez, the website's taking forever, but I want it to be perfect, and I'm doing that myself. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit. Secondly, if you want to, share. All you have to do is share a comment or like a post or something like that. Be involved. Ultimately, when people get involved, more people find interest, and that will help these artists gain momentum. That will help the podcast grow and help these artists gain momentum too. So thank you very much for all of you that have participated. You guys are all wonderful. And if you are looking to be on the show, all you have to do is go to the WordPress at thelocalmusicrevolution.wordpress.com. Up at the top right hand corner, there is an interview sign up sheet. All you have to do is fill that out. It will send directly to me, and I will send you an email confirming, and we will work on a schedule for you to be on the podcast. Please do not contact me first, because there are so many people that I am working with. I don't want you to get lost in the shuffle, and I just feel bad even the thought of it. So please do that, and I will make sure everything's good. Next Thursday, I will have a rap artist out of Fresno, California, a big advocate for the local scene, really cool guy, very funny, very easy to work with. I am talking about none other than MC Wicks. That's it for another episode. As always, this is The Local Music Revolution. I